Wake and Bake Sessions with Mac West. How y'all doing out there, world? You see, I got my girl Apollonia sitting next to me. We about to do it real big.
Hey, Appleheads.
You feel me? Today, what we gonna talk about is how to educate young black people on interacting with the police, especially if you black in the streets.
Definitely.
Some tips that I would say, to give some young black men that interact with the police is don't get smart with them, and you gotta keep your hands where they can see them at all times, because they'll try to manipulate the situation as if you was trying to get something. I would say as well, like especially if you're a young black driver, have extra copies of your ID and your insurance card already out and established, like somewhere where it's easy to grab, very accessible, something like that. And then so you won't be manipulated into reaching somewhere, and they mistakenly saying it's something else. So you got to be very aware about that. And then also be aware of the law. You have the right to remain silent. And another thing, as a child or a person under 18, you can't talk without your parent present. So know that right then and there, that I can't even talk to you without without my parent present. So, and then just like your mommy told you, when you was 4, she told me not to talk to strangers. You feel what I'm saying? So don't talk to these strangers. You feel what I'm saying? You feel me? These police officers and stuff like that is straight strangers to you. Especially when you first interact with them. They're strangers. You feel me? I don't give a damn what piece of clothing and what motherfucking star symbol you got on your chest. You's a stranger. I don't know you. You feel me? You don't know them and they don't know you. So right then and there, you need to call moms. You feel what I'm saying?
Period. And I think, going back to them being strangers, I think where they try to confuse our children and stuff is they bring them into our schools. They go into low-income communities and schools. I remember growing up where the police would come into the schools and give us stickers and befriend us and tell us, hey, we're your friends. So they try to manipulate the young mind to make the young mind feel like they are our friends. So when you a kid, you're like, oh, the police, they're our friends. And then soon you get old enough for them to snatch you and handcuff you, it's like you realize what the fuck is going on and what the whole plot is.
Right. And plus, like, when you all
can't handle the bake.
Yeah. Some good shit. Plus, like, when the world controls the narrative and the whole world sees black people as a negative entity as it is, we're already put at a disadvantage just by how they see us. Not by having a conversation with us or by judging us by the content of our character, like the great Martin Luther King said. So they just see and they react. I don't understand how that person in Greenland killed like 40, 50 something people, and then they still arrested and detained him, and young black men and women getting caught with cell phones in their pockets.
Right.
And getting knocked down by the people who was here to serve and protect. Quote unquote. You dig? So it's just, I don't understand that. So when it comes to protecting our kids, you gotta train them at home first. Right. I feel like as a parent, you should have these, you should practice altercations with the cops, and things like that. And then, like, what would you do if the cop did this or in this scenario, Or, just constantly ask them questions, what you gonna do if the cop pull you over?
That's dope.
Just, like, question, like, keep questioning them, like, what, and shoot different scenarios at them and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, what happened if an altercation broke out of school and the cops came around, what you gonna do? And things like that. Like, you don't want to be an innocent bystander.
Right.
You feel me? So we got to protect ourselves and our babies at all costs.
It's true.
Especially you being a black mother. I know it's very sensitive for you.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Like, I struggle with, like, telling my son and training him on what to do when the police, like, interacting with him. I'm afraid to, like, recently I was just harassed by the police, pulled over, snatched out my car, charged with resisting arrest, and I didn't even do shit. Like, he asked for my driver's license, I gave him my driver's license, he opened up my door, snatched me out the car. So it's just, like, hard for me even to, like, train my son on how to interact with the police, what to say to the police. What you said, those drills, that's definitely something I'm gonna, like, put into our training, and just with me talking to him about this whole society. Like, I had to show him the photo that I put on my page. Follow my page at I Want Your Badge. Also at AP News TV on Instagram.
That's right.
But I showed a picture. Follow, click. I showed a picture to my son of a Latino man. I can't think of his name right now, but he was beat by the Stockton police. I put it on my page. And my son,
I remember that.
He was confused. He was looking at it like, I'm like, son, the police did this. And I explained to him, I'm like, sometimes you could be innocent just because you black or just because you brown, they'll beat you. Like, they'll abuse you. They'll abuse their authority. And he didn't understand, but I had to show him that. Like, this is the time where we have to keep our kids woke. Right. And understand that the same people that act like they're your friends and that they got love for you really don't got love for you.
Exactly.
Really see you as a threat.
Exactly. So and that's very important that you showed them that, because there's good cops out there, and but unfortunately it's bad is they mixed in with the bad ones.
Right.
So it's hard to tell the difference between the two. So excuse me. It's hard to tell the difference between the two. But at the same time, like, you can't assume you got to protect yourself at all costs. Mm-hmm. So as a young black child growing up now in these times and days, be very aware about what your actions are towards these cops. And matter of fact, I believe it's our responsibility to start learning the laws. In the household, because all of our kids is being incarcerated and we don't understand none of this shit. How is 90% of our population, I mean not 90%, but half, like 50% of the population in jail is black people. But out here we still don't know the laws.
Right.
We're at a disadvantage.
It's crazy because when I was pulled over, the reason why they pulled me over was supposedly broken tail light. But after I got the ticket and I went and researched the penal code 24603A states that you must have at least one working tail light. So as long as one of your tail lights is working, the police cannot pull you over. They cannot ticket you for that. So they basically harassed me and pulled me over for no reason. But if I would have knew the penal code then and there, I could have been like, oh, penal code 24603A states that I have to have at least one working tail light. And then it would have been, they still would have been trying to pull some bull.
But by you establishing your ground and knowing your law, it's a totally different stand you could take. Right then and there, but you can't fight the situation if you don't know better. That's like going to the situation blind, like, trusting in blind faith,
Blind leading the blind.
Exactly. So it's time to educate ourselves,
right?
Educate our children. I feel it should be mandatory. You shouldn't be able to graduate high school without knowing the laws. You feel what I'm saying? Like, to be honest, like, that's real. Like, how you go live in a place you don't understand the law?
Right. And we do. We live in America where we don't fucking understand. And even when you do know your laws, they still try to manipulate that shit. Like, I'm like you need PC to search my car. I'm like, you need probable cause. Like, nigga, I know that much.
Right. Facts.
This nigga like, I don't need no probable cause. Walked around my car, searched it, opened my glove compartment. Mind you, I'm not on no paperwork, no search and seizure, none of that.
This motherfucker foul.
Then his supervisor came. I secretly record the supervisor telling me that his officer can legally search my car to get my registration. And I'm like, he can run my plates to see that my shit
everything
registered.
pop up.
Right.
What the fuck I need to go to DMV for?
What you need to search me for? I'm like, he ain't gotta violate me. And see, that's what they feel like people don't know that. Like, you ain't gotta violate me and search me.
Right. Straight
They be
foul.
afraid when you know your laws, though.
Mhm.
They be real scared.
Because you become a threat the more knowledge that you have. But what happened if we had that knowledge as a people, though?
Right.
If we had that knowledge as a people, come on now. Come on now.
It's time. It's been time already.
For real, for real. Oh, everything. Past due. Way past due. So how do we protect the kids, y'all? How you gonna start protecting the babies?
I'm protecting mine by any means necessary. Like, whatever I gotta do to protect mine. Like, even if I gotta keep them with me at all times, I'm taking the bullet for them. I refuse. The officer not gonna take mine out like that.
For sure, for sure.
And I just feel like we need to educate our youth on like guns and protecting ourselves too, because they make it seem like black youth just out here packing guns and stuff, but it's white kids out here with the guns, and they parents is training them on how to do guns and do this and shit. And I feel like we need to start training our youth on how to protect themselves and how to legally practice their Second Amendment right.
I think every black kid and young black man that does not have a felony needs to go purchase a weapon, a firearm, and need to go practice and become a marksman at using it. There's nothing wrong with protecting yourself. I'm not telling you to go out and kill anybody.
No.
But you can protect yourself. We have that
protect your
right.
home and your family. That's
We
our
have
Second
that right.
Amendment right. Right
Most
to bear arms. Period.
Facts. Facts. You dig? So with that being said, arm yourselves. But not only arm yourselves physically, but go arm yourselves with the knowledge as well.
Yep.
You know, go get in that law book. Go have study sessions and study groups. You know, and understand the way the world works. You know, understand the terminology that they use in the court system.
Right.
Understand, you know, what it means, you know, to be a citizen, you know, in this United States of America. Try to figure everything out.
That's crazy that you say that, because I recently had to go through some child support court shit. And I went and researched, like, all the little court terminology.
Right.
Because at first I was going in there on some I'm mad type of I'm mad that I even gotta go through this shit. So I was going on there on their quote unquote angry black woman, you know, statistic type.
Right.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm smarter than that. Let me sit down, do my research these court words and terminology and all this jargon they be saying in the courthouse. Okay.
Right.
So I went and researched. I got in front of the judge, and BD had a lawyer. His lawyer sitting there looking at me like, this bitch know her shit. Like, she own it. I'm like, yeah, Your Honor. You know, it's in the best interest of the child. The judge looking at me like, how did she know this terminology? But just like, you know, arming yourself
with that
knowledge and that power, like it's strong. Like that shit is, and it's scary too, cause they be afraid of you, and they be like, damn, like we gotta stop her, like, like we gotta stop them, like.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just you become more of a threat.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you know what you know. You can't, and nobody can take that away from you. You could take money away from me. You could take clothes and jewelry away from me. But once you have that knowledge, that shit is priceless. For real. You know? So that's how, and how I want to plan, you feel me, to help. I feel like it's time to, there's so many teachers out there, you know, that's underpaid and underappreciated, but love teaching, you know, males and females. I feel it's time for us to educate our own kids, you know, with
homeschooling. You mean like homeschooling?
You know, like I'm saying,
system,
literally pull them out the system and community schooling them, like within the community of the houses in the community.
Okay.
You know, we as people, we go to work. Why pay taxes to the system when we can pay taxes to the people in our community?
That's what's up. That's what they don't do nowadays, because they used to do that back in the days. Like when me and my sisters was like 9, she was like 9, I was like 11. We had our own cleaning business. We used to go next door, 2 houses down, to our neighbor Mary, and like fold her clothes, clean up and shit. And she would pay us like that was like our community, like helping the community, helping the
Right.
kids, providing the kids with a job and shit. It's like
Exactly.
they don't do that no more
Right.
within the community.
You can't go to Mr. Johnson's store.
Right, and Mary
ask them
wasn't
for a
black.
job.
She was a Hawaiian lady, but she had mixed kids. Like her kids was black and stuff, but it was the whole community. It didn't matter if you was black or
It
white.
was within the community.
Right,
You know, but mostly that who live in the community is your kind.
right.
You feel what I'm saying? So, with that being said, is that
Or your income level. Cause it ain't gotta be your
but
race.
I'm gonna just say like this, even in like the apartments, you know, townhomes, projects, you feel what I'm saying, apartment buildings, duplexes, regardless on your living situation, houses, you know, regardless, if you put your money with the person that lives next to you and your person that lives across the street from you and around the block from you, and they look like you and they got businesses and you invest in those businesses, those communities will grow.
Right.
They will prosper. You dig? You know, so the whole situation go prosper at the end of the day. So you gotta be willing to roll with the punches, you know, and make sacrifices. You gotta make sacrifices for the greater good, for the community. So
Right.
if you gotta sacrifice sending the kids to school, hey, you gotta take some time out away from your job to make this shit happen and establish. Like I think it's called monetary or monastery, you know, like schools, you know, something like that. And with that being said, you could it's like having little like small groups of kids in houses. So this like, you know, Sister Johnson could be math house. Sister Barbara could be the English house. Sister Sanchez could be the Latino house. You know, Brother Martin could be the science house. You know, Big Mama down the street could be the nursery where they show her how to build gardens and with the fruits, and so you will never have to worry about going hungry.
Right.
You know.
Right.
You know, the police officer that lives in the community gets show them the marksmanship.
Right.
You know, and things like that, and show them how to go purchase a weapon legally and protect themselves the right way. And, you know, the law house. You know, you need a law house. Then you're gonna need a medical house. You know, it's gonna be a doctor in the community. You know, and things like that. If you have it all in the community, why would you have to go to put your money in everybody else's pocket?
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
That's building community wealth, circulating community wealth, and all that.
That's how we gotta do it. That's the way to do it, and we can do it.
Yeah, we
just
definitely can.
gotta put the plan together. That's it, y'all. You feel what I'm saying?
Let's do it. The time is now, my black people.
The time is now.
Please.
You feel what I'm saying? Hope you fucked with it. Smoke on that. Thank you, Apollonia.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Give them where can they find you and everything like that.
You guys can find me. Y'all can look me up. Check out my website, www.chroniclesofapollonia.com. I'm also on Instagram at Apollonia. I think it's _the1. Yeah, Apollonia _the1. Also have my civil rights page, I Want Your Badge, Instagram at I Want Your Badge, and also my news page, because I'm a journalist too. I do a little bit of everything at AP News TV. Thank you, Wes, for this session. I wish we had more time to blow. Blow again.
Most definitely. We gonna blow plenty of times over and over again because we gonna keep smoking and keep rolling. You dig? So appreciate that. Smoke on that, and I'll holler back in a minute. Mwah.